The story opens with a carriage rumbling down a rugged path, where we see a young blonde girl sitting across from a boy, both around 12 years old. The girl, full of curiosity, leans forward and asks, "Hey, look at me. You said you're 12? Well, I'm 12 too. So, who's going to be the younger sibling?" The boy, seemingly unbothered, replies, "I don't care. You can be the older sister if you want." She pouts, "What? That's so boring." With a slight smile, he adds, "Fine then, you can be the younger sister." Now annoyed, she retorts, "When did I ever say I wanted to be the younger sister? The important thing is, from now on, we're going to be family." The boy, Boris Jineman, thinks quietly to himself, "Family? I'm going to be family with strangers, but I once had a family. A family I belonged to." His thoughts drift back to his past. Boris Jineman, second son of the Lord Jurkin Jineman, of the noble Jineman family of Travanches Longward, came into the world with tragedy. His mother passed away the day he was born. The Jinemans are a household of martial fame, legendary for their bravery and strength. From birth, everyone assumed Boris would one day become a great warrior, just like his father, inheriting the family's famed treasures, Winterer and Snowguard, the sacred sword and armor passed down through generations. But with the loss of his mother, Boris found himself shunned by his father, who resented the son for the price of his wife's life. Only his older brother showed him the warmth and affection he craved, offering Boris a glimpse of love and kindness in an otherwise cold home. But as time went on, the Jineman family faced a sinister threat, a revolution, led by an exiled uncle bent on revenge. Betrayal festered, and the family's bloodline became entangled in the carnage. His uncle's hatred ran so deep that he would stop at nothing to erase them all. In this bloodbath, many lives were lost, but the Jinemans swore one thing: they never forget acts of kindness, nor do they ever forgive betrayal. As Boris sits in the carriage, his resolve hardens. "I must survive. Through all the pain, until this world is freed from suffering. I must endure." In the Jineman household, nestled in the rugged terrains of Tranches, young Boris sat wide-eyed as his nanny told him tales of the eerie wraith near Lake Amara. "Remember, young master," she warned, her voice low and serious, "stay away from the lake. It lurks there, a wraith waiting to feed on any who dare approach it. You can see it from the estate on stormy nights, its eyes glowing, always watching." She looked into his young eyes and said firmly, "Promise me, don't go near the lake." Later, Boris shared his nanny's warning with his older brother, Yevgen. With a warm smile, Yevgen reassured him, "Don't worry about the lake, little brother. I'm always here for you." Boris felt a surge of comfort from Yevgen's words, and together, they moved to the training grounds to practice their swordsmanship. Yevgen gently corrected Boris's stance, his swing, and his focus, helping him grow stronger. When Boris stumbled, Yevgen was there to catch him, supporting him with the quiet strength of a loving elder brother. Watching from the estate window, the family head, Jurkin Jineman, observed his sons with an indifferent expression. "Yevgen seems fond of his little brother," remarked the advisor beside him. But Jurkin merely sneered, pathetic, especially for the family heir. His tone was cold, as if Boris's efforts were an embarrassment. Back on the grounds, Boris's practice continued with growing confidence under Yevgen's guidance. Yet, in an instant, Yevgen's sword came toward him unexpectedly, striking with an intensity that caught Boris off guard. Yevgen quickly apologized, realizing his strength had overpowered his younger brother, but the moment left Boris shaken. For the first time, he felt a strange chill, a feeling that someone might want him gone. Just then, a servant rushed over, calling out to them, "Young masters Yevgen and Boris, you must not return to the family estate." Confused, Yevgen asked, "What's happened?" The servant's voice trembled, "Vlado Jineman, the elder, has returned." A heavy silence fell as Boris felt a pang of dread, an unfamiliar fear clutching at his heart. Back in the family estate, the same servant appeared before Lord Jurkin. "My lord, should we let him inside?" he asked cautiously. Jurkin nodded, his voice laced with disdain. "Let him in. Moments later, the doors creaked open, and Vlado stepped into the estate, his presence dark and heavy. He looked at his brother, the family head, and smirked. "It's been a while, brother." Jurkin's voice was cold as ice. "5 years since I kicked you out, and I'm surprised you're still alive." The tension was palpable, and with Vlado's return, the Gineman family would soon be caught in the grip of something dark and vengeful. Vlado Gineman entered the grand hall, taking in the familiarity of his old home. With a sly smile, he remarked, "Nothing has changed here. How about a drink? We've traveled half a day to have a long conversation." He continued, his tone almost nostalgic, "Do you remember when we were young? In the Longward field, we'd spar together. Skipping training, only to be scolded by father." Jurkin, the family head, kept his voice steady but cold. "What do you want?" With a smirk, Vlado replied, so impatient as ever. "Fine, let's get to business. You know Prince-elect Khan," he gestured to the figure behind him, "he'll become chief elector soon. When that happens, your allegiance to the rival elector will become a thorn. I'm here to secure our family's survival." Jurkin's patience wore thin. "Stop talking nonsense and get out of my mansion." "This isn't just your mansion," Vlado replied darkly. "It was passed down to us, and our sister Yanichka died because of you. Or have you forgotten?" Jurkin's expression hardened. "How was it my fault?" "Because of your filthy schemes, that's why," Vlado accused, his voice laced with anger. Jurkin's temper snapped, and he threw his cup toward Vlado, who only smirked, unfazed. "As awful as ever, I see. Do you really think your sons will be any different from us?" Jurkin stood, giving his brother a final warning. "Leave, Vlado. Now." But Vlado only leaned in, his tone chilling. "Brother, this is your last chance. Since we share blood, I'll forget our past. Prince-elect Khan will turn a blind eye, but only if you hand over the Winterbottom kit." Jurkin drew his sword, eyes blazing. "Get out this instant. Even if it costs me my life, I will never give it to you." Vlado chuckled, shaking his head. "As foolish as ever. Very well, let's see how long you last. I'll take everything from you." With that, Vlado turned and left, his ominous words lingering in the air. As soon as Vlado departed, Jurkin turned to his servant. "Begin the preparations. It's time to resist." At the same moment, young Boris and his brother Yevgen raced through the halls, meeting a servant who directed them to their father on the second floor. As they arrived, Yevgen's voice held a firm resolve. "It's time to use the Winterbottom kit." The Winterbottom kit, armor seized from the defeated lord of a rival territory, a relic of bloodshed. With it, the snow guard, and the blade stained with the lives of countless enemies over 30 years, treasures that symbolized the Gineman family's might. Passed down through generations, only the strongest were worthy to wield them. Now, the century-old legacy would once again find its master. And Boris, for the first time, would face the true weight of his family's past. Earlier that year in the Gineman household, Lord Jurkin led his eldest son, Yevgen, to the family's treasured room. Inside, resting under a soft light, were the legendary family relics, Winterer, a formidable sword, and Snowguard, an impenetrable armor. Together, they were known as the Winterbottom kit, artifacts forged and passed down by Jurkin's ancestors, rumored to only reveal their full strength when wielded together. Jurkin placed a heavy hand on Yevgen's shoulder. "Your grandfather entrusted these to both Vlado and me, hoping they'd unite us. But he was mistaken." He paused, looking at his son. "This year, you turn 20. You must understand your role as the heir to the Gineman family. If danger comes, you must take the Winterbottom kit and escape. No matter what happens, you must ensure the family's survival through you." Months later, Yevgen and his younger brother Boris approached the Winterbottom kit once more. Yevgen pointed to the sword and armor. "This is Winterer, and that," he gestured to the armor, "is Snowguard. Our family's treasure." Boris, eyes wide with awe, replied, "It looks so cool." Yevgen chuckled, "Which do you like better?" Without hesitation, Boris answered, "The sword. The armor's too heavy." Yevgen handed Winterer to Boris. "Then, this sword will be yours. Try holding it." Boris gripped the sword with effort, surprised by its weight. "Even the sword is heavy for me." Yevgen smiled, ruffling his brother's hair. "Winterer is your sword, Boris. It might feel heavy now, but one day you'll be strong enough to wield it. Don't worry about anything else, I'm here." Later, as the butler whispered grimly about the rebellion stirring within the Jeinman family, he spoke of how loyalty and betrayal would intertwine. A rebellion in the family will have only winners and losers. There will be no right or wrong, only survival. Determined, Yevgen said to his brother, "Boris, I'm borrowing Winterer for now." Boris looked at him and said quietly, "You don't have to return it, brother. Father gave it to you, not me. I just hope you'll cry for me." But Yevgen shook his head, placing Winterer back in Boris's hands. "No, Winterer is yours. I won't take it without permission. Once this rebellion ends, I'll return it. You'll be able to wield it, Boris. Like your name, you'll become a warrior." Suddenly, the sounds of shouting filled the air. Outside, rebels rallied, chanting, "Today, the head of Jeinman changes. Lay down your weapons, surrender, and serve your new master. Help revive the Jeinman legacy." The Jeinman soldiers who had sworn loyalty to the family head were now drawn into a merciless fight. From within the estate, Lord Jurken's voice thundered, "To those who dare invade Longord, they face me. I will raise the light." He ordered the white flames to be lit, signaling the start of resistance against the rebellion. Then, with a piercing screech, a dragon appeared, casting a massive shadow over the estate. Lord Jurken's gaze hardened as he recognized it. "Kregal," he muttered, summoning every ounce of his courage for the battle to come. The rebellion was underway, and the fate of the Jeinman family hung in the balance.